everybody. Laura Beck here with the Eden Alternative. I am here with two of my favorite people. Been working with these women for a while now. Great teammates, Jill Vitale Awesome and Denise Hyde. And the reason why we're here today is we are over the moon excited. It's a huge, big day for us. After over a year of working our tails off, trying to create something completely different and new as an offering from the Eden Alternative, today is the launch day of eVOLVE online learning, and we are thrilled. And so I thought I'd hand it over to Jill to tell a little bit about why are we here? Why are we celebrating today?
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, it's such an exciting day. And it's actually, I mean, if you really look back, we've been talking about this for years, right? And I know for the past 2 years, we've been really looking at how do we make the education that we provide more accessible to people, more affordable, more efficient. And so I remember when I started with the organization 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, that was the goal, right? How do we not take the place of in-person education, but how do we supplement that and give other opportunities for people to come on board and really drive change in their organizations? And on-demand online learning was what we were focused on, and we were able to get an amazing grant from a foundation out of California that funded getting things set up for this. And I just, sometimes just the way situations come about, the fact that we are launching this at a time where people can't come together for in-person education is really, really kind of incredible, and just, I think, a gift to the field.
The timing was crazy. I mean, we had no idea what we were facing, did we? And we feel really fortunate that it has lined up. Not that something as intense and challenging as the pandemic is impacting our lives, but that we can actually support people who are really feeling it, feeling disconnected from why they do this work because they're so overwhelmed and challenged. And I'm excited about what's possible through this. Mm-hmm. So, all right. One of the reasons why we're here today isn't just to talk about eVOLVE launching in general, but the way that we're launching is with 2 courses that you guys happen to be the creators of. Jill, you with Leaderships, Transform Your Mindset to Transform Your Organization, and Denise, you with Growth, 6 Steps for Framing Lasting Change. And so I thought it would be a little fun because back in the 80s when MTV was such a new cool thing, they did this thing called the story behind the music. And so I want the story behind the course. So Jill, let's start with you. Can you tell us what inspired you to create Leaderships?
I would love to. I worked in this field running nursing homes and senior living organizations for years before I was introduced to the Eden Alternative. And when I learned about the Eden Alternative, I was an administrator and I thought, this is what we have to do. We've got to do this. And I was so excited, and I didn't know exactly where to start. And I used a lot of my old mindsets to try to drive change. And I had a lot of failures. And really, over the years of working with the Eden Alternative and having experiences like the Leading Age Leadership Academy, I learned all these different ways of thinking as a leader that allowed me to actually drive sustainable change and overcome a lot of the barriers that come up. And so really, the reason I created this course is I don't want other people, first of all, to suffer the way I did from their own mistakes like I made, and to really understand some of the shifts that have to happen in your thinking if you really want to drive sustainable change. And then the other reason is I don't think there's really anything worse than bringing this new way of being to an organization and then having leadership unprepared and it falls apart. And then people, the elders and team members and family members have seen there's this different way, and then it gets taken away from them because leadership wasn't prepared. So that's my whole goal. Everything comes down to how do we create a better world for older people and those that support them.
Brilliant. And you know what I love too is that the 2 courses actually work together really beautifully. I mean, they actually should be taken together, frankly. And so Denise, it's your turn. Story behind the course.
So I remember sitting in a room at the Westminster Thurber community in Columbus, Ohio. The mentors and educators from around the US and Canada had gathered, and Nancy Fox was our CEO, and she said, we've got all these people, we know how to teach them about the principles and get them go, but they don't know how to go from 0 to 60. They don't know how to get from where they are to where they want to be. And it happened that in my career path, I got exposed to masterful facilitation, and I had the opportunity to really do some serious project facilitation within my own community, driving culture change there. But then I also got to work at the statewide level. So I got invited into a group of education people from the state level that wanted to do a change, and I got to go facilitate them. So I had lots of passion and lots of excitement about process improvement. And then I had the opportunity to go and work for the QIO, the Quality Improvement Organization, which gave me even more passion. So it just really, like, everything just kind of aligned. And I'm like, I could do this. I could come up with a course to make this happen. And so I took it on, developed the course, got approved, ran the course a couple times, and then realized that people don't understand how much they need this information to shift their mindset and think differently and engage people differently. And so out of that, I took the course basically and rewrote it into a workbook so people could just on their own study process improvement and get the tools and use the tools. And so I'm super excited to combine the workbook with this online venue, methodology, whatever, and really hopefully expand this out to a lot more people, because process is super important. You can't go from where you are to where you want to be if you don't understand how to develop the steps and engage all the right people on the way. So I'm super excited. I hope a lot of people will check it out.
For real.
I want to jump in and just say, I took the growth course in person years ago when I was running a community, and that framework of process improvement, it changed everything. We used it during a huge cultural and physical renovation of our community, and it allowed us to successfully get through that. I also used it individually with elders, right, to look at, okay, what's going on in your life right now, and how are things happening? And we used the growth model for her to achieve amazing outcomes. So it works personally for personal growth as well as organizational growth. And that's one of the things I really love about it, because it takes both, right? Personal and organizational change.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I just love her stories are awesome, and we've included them in the workbook, so you'll get to read them.
Absolutely. And all I was going to do, I got a little excited to share, was that I really feel like your two courses really speak to the things that people try to skip, right? When they're initiating a change journey. The mindset piece. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, hanging out with cool people like you guys. And what you shared, Jill, was like, oh my gosh, it's so accessible. Like, that concept feels simple and elegant, and yet like huge and impactful. And same with growth. Denise and I share a love of process. And we know, right? Like, if you skip those steps of really putting everything into a framework that actually gets you on the right track, you could be wasting a lot of time and money.
Yes. And, when you look at the research, 70% of change efforts fail. Mm-hmm. And we cannot have this kind of change effort fail. It's not okay, because it's so important. And so I think with Denise's course and my course, and knowing that leadership is essential to sustainable change, these classes will help organizations and people be the exception, not the rule, right? To be in that 30% where things actually work, because they have that foundation to get things moving.
Oh, perfect. Love that addition.
And I would say that you might think growth is just for leaders, but growth is for everybody. Mm-hmm. And when you're trying to make the kinds of changes that we advocate for, to really transform into a home where people are valued and engaged, everybody needs to be engaged in process improvement. So that's what the growth model is designed to be, something easily memorizable. You could run around and go, okay, we're starting a project. Gee, let's get real. What do we know? What do we know? What do we do? Open up and dream. What's our dream? And so you can really just like use this to get that conversation going and keep it going. And that's what I really love. So it's really a widespread, just the whole organization adopts it. Everybody follows it. And it's so easy.
So brilliant. I wanted to share quickly that these courses were beta tested. so that we made sure we were actually making something that people would use, right? I'm happy to say that both of these courses just shot it out of the water. Really, really high marks in terms of its impact and value. We asked people to assess, first of all, if the content had value. Second of all, if they could imagine themselves using the content in their roles. And third, could they imagine applying it to teaching others what they learned? And it was yes across the board. So keep that in mind. I noticed that Meredith has taken the time to put the links to the individual courses in the chat box if you want to go to their landing pages and get all the juicy lowdown about them. I do want to let you know quickly that there's a couple of ways that people can learn with these courses. This is something we're super excited about with the system, is that you can do a self-study course, make it all about your own timing, etc. Or you can take a plus course. And what a plus course does is it combines the beauty of the autonomy you have with self-study with coaching, from the creators themselves on live Zoom events that you come together with all the other people who are taking the course at the same time as you. So you get to learn from them too. And you get to engage with them online through a couple of different social media community group options that will just deepen the dialogue. So that's what that means. If you're wondering, why does that say self-study? Why does that say plus? That's what it means. I was going to end with just talking a little bit about what's coming. Is there anything else the two of you wanted to say before then? Nah? Okay. Well, first of all, coming August 5th, we are delighted to mention that we've been collaborating with Dr. Al Power, MD, who is an expert on the subject of dementia. He's internationally renowned for this work, and he's also an award-winning author. We are launching the Wellbeing Approach, Creating a Life Worth Living with Dementia, on August 5th. And super content, got to tell you, it's rich and very applied. But not only that, we had the blessing to work with Dr. Power and actually get content for 5 more courses with him that are now in post-production, which is editing in normal language. And that is coming in the fall. So please keep your eyes open for that. We have some other offerings that we're very much excited about. And it's really important to mention to you also that we have free content on the system today that if you decide to go in and look around, you can just enjoy that immediately. All of the live Eden Alternative live shows that we do on a weekly basis, and the idea is to talk about relevant content. Hey, Jill, you tell them about it. You're the one who's in the middle of that. You want to say something real quick?
I always tell people I've become a talk show host in the midst of the pandemic. But every week we have different thought leaders come on the show, and we talk about very relevant, timely information that people can use to drive change in their organizations, get inspired, do things differently. So those are those shows, everything from racial equity to infection control during the pandemic. We really are cross-pollinating ideas from thought leaders around the country and around the world.
Denise, real quick, could you tell them about the spirit behind the Eden Moments that are offered as free content?
Yeah, we wanted to get our mentors and educators together and keep them inspired so they can keep their organizations and their people around them inspired on their care partner teams. But we know time is tight. So what we invited instead was for people to come in and do 3 to 5 minutes, just some topic, just to inspire people. So it's been everything about remember what loneliness, helplessness, and boredom is about, to how do you deal with people's guilt during this time? How do you breathe effectively during this time? Stress relievers, just inspiring content from all kinds of different people. And so they're really fun, and they're also loaded up on our Facebook page that you can access anytime, and just 3 to 5 minutes of inspiration for you.
And I'd suggest too, with social distancing, of course, but this is a great thing to share with other people. So if you have people together 6 feet apart in a room, elders, those Eden Moments are great ways to get people thinking, and they're great conversation starters too.
Yeah, not to the live shows too. Definitely juicy content. There's a ton of it there. Indulge. Is there anything we're missing, Denise and Jill? Do we feel like we've adequately, thrown the confetti about this event? Woo, I wish we had some.
I would say this is just the beginning. There is a lot that we're dreaming about, a lot that we're going to be reaching out to other people to help us with. eVOLVE is going to evolve.
In note, hello. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Please, edenalt evolve.org. Check it out and have some fun. We hope you'll enjoy.